Good morning, afternoon, evening, slash whatever, everybody. Okay, so anybody who actually bothers reading descriptions would have seen on the previous video that I uploaded that I was planning to do something a little bit different in terms of content for just a little bit for now, just because it's not really much of a secret that, there hasn't been a whole lot going on the channel lately, and there's the simplest explanation for that is life. I started thinking about it. It's just like, what can I actually do nowadays that would be at least something I could put up on the channel? And I just think about what's consuming all my time, and it's just like, I could just summarize it as life. So, I figured, why not just kind of work with that a little bit? So, this is going to be kind of pseudo-vloggy, but I'm just going to go ahead and just talk about life. That'd be the easiest way of putting it, while there's vaguely game-related stuff going on in the background for however many people pay attention to anything MMO-related. It's been an interesting couple of months, let me put it that way. Everything's just gotten busier since February. It's just more hours and more hours all the time. For work, there's been appointments that I have to go to twice a week nowadays. It consumes a lot of my free time that I would have had. It's not exactly the greatest, it's just like... But you know what, I'm still fine. It's one of those things where I may not be getting any content done, but overall, I'm still actually doing pretty good. Moon's fine, depending on if I just got home from work or not, because that always dips it pretty fast. But that's pretty standard for me. I can be pretty up and down on the old mood spectrum. Oh yeah? Oh yeah? You wanna monk at me? Come back here! I'll show you how to monk! But yeah, so it's just been quite a thing. Every time I think about it, just more and more time that's been consumed, and it all started in February because I need to start doing bi-weekly appointments for medical stuff. Don't worry, I'm fine. It's nothing serious. Ha! There we go. just how do you know find her first? It's just one of those things where nothing serious, but it's going to be a long process getting that fixed since it's literally twice a week for 2 hours at a time, which consumes a hell of a lot of my time because it's also a half hour there and back, and yeah, so basically there goes 6 hours of my week right there of already limited free time. Yeah. I don't have exactly the most thrilling of lives. I work a hell of a lot, and I live by myself, but you know what? It's not bad. I've actually been enjoying myself quite a bit. One thing's for certain. Oh, I need to talk about my university days at some point, because I have no desire to have any form of roommate again. That was just not fun. I mean, the two of us got along and all, but God, if anybody is actually listening right now, have you ever had the joy of a roommate? Have you ever experienced the maddening frustration that is the fact that you two will drive each other crazy? No matter how much you actually like each other, it will just happen over time. It's like, we got along just fine, but when you're stuck in a small room with somebody for 8 months, you're gonna start to drive each other crazy for every little habit that you have. So that's why I live alone. It means that I'm paying kind of really high fees for bills, but it means that I have my privacy, so I can do things like this and not even have to worry. I mean, I can blabber on as much as I like, and as long as I'm not literally shouting to the point where neighboring apartments can hear me, we're good. It's simply one of those things where, yeah, you just have to. Unless you're, like, trying to live with somebody forever, then try to be on your own. I know a lot of people don't like to be on their own, though, so I guess to each their own. These will be a good opportunity for me to share stories of my job as well. If there's one thing that will always garner more than a few absolutely ridiculous stories, it's going to be retail. Retail and sales are pretty much a recipe for some of the most stupid possible stories to share, and you know what? Last night was another perfect example. It's just like, I don't know. Ever since I came to this particular side of the country, I'm just kind of appalled that there's as many really stupid people out there as there are. It's kind of worrisome, actually. I sometimes question how these people even manage to breathe, let alone function in average everyday life. Ugh. It also gives me a little opportunity to talk to you guys as well, since, you know, I'll actually be able to take a look at the comments for any of these videos and maybe address it on the next one, because I'm just kind of talking about whatever. It's a format almost similar to my streams, which, honestly, even those have been suffering lately, just because I've just not been in the right of spirits. I need something to play that's going to keep me well enough enthused, and, you know, in terms of just watching for gameplay, I know games like these are not exactly to the most interest. So, whatever I'm using as a background game for this really depends on what I'm doing at the time, so it's probably going to be a lot of this for now. It's just how it goes. This is my time consumer. But I just want to have some fun, some mindless fun, without even really having to think about anything, because that's ultimately the recipe for success. That was somebody you undercut me by a single gill, isn't it? Isn't it? I can feel it. Yep. Let's adjust that. It's one of those things where you spend so much of your time just working and doing other things, all for the singular goal of just trying to pay the bills. And you think about how little time you actually get to live at that point. Wow, those went down a lot. It's not a whole lot. I get precious little free time. And since my shifts are mostly in the evenings, it's like I wake up, I have maybe 2 hours before I have to go to work, sometimes less, and I still need to be able to, you know, cook something to eat and everything else in that little time span. So there's a lot to squeeze into that little brief time before work, and then I work, and then I get home, and it's like 11 or 12 at night, and it's just, ugh. At that point, you don't really have much desire to do anything, so what's one supposed to do? Undercutting's bad today, jeez. I used to have more free time when I, on average, have 3 days off a week, but that changed pretty hard over the past few months, especially with the morning appointments. I've just been blathering on about that constantly, but it is a big part of what's been going on, at least. And overall, it's just, I am at least happy that my mood's still up. There's a lot of progress being made on stuff that I need to get done, so eventually I will have more free time again. I just don't expect it to be anytime terribly soon. Especially since, you know, the appointments I'm going to are a 1 full year type of thing. So, yeah, that's gonna be a while. But in the meantime, at least it's, you know, something. I don't know, I look for reasons to be happy. Because anybody who really listens to my streams and whatnot, they can get a feel for what I'm feeling happy and bubbly and for when I'm being a massive grump. And you know what? I don't like being a massive grump. It's not very inviting, and people don't like it very much, so... Wait, why don't I switch over to this? That's not what I want. I want to do mining. Shit, I don't even want to do that. I want to do this. Indecisive! So pretty much, if I had to recommend anything, it's just like... I don't know. Trying to focus on doing at least something with each of your days, even if it is just relaxing. I try to have fun. Having fun is good. Having enough fun is essential for me to not go crazy. Most people think I already am crazy, but... Shut up! Oh. And there's not even been a whole lot to go on about for game news either. I mean, what's even coming out? Mostly nothing. I mean, I heard that the... what I'm trying to say here. The expansion for Isaac that's being prepared right now is for being able to do custom content in it. Finding Isaac, for anybody who doesn't know, is something I've streamed a lot of. So it's something to keep in mind. Take a look at content that pops up. But overall, it's just like... I don't know, E3 didn't have anything that interests me, so that doesn't help either. It's gonna be a slow year for games, guys. It's gonna be a slow year for games. Everybody's preparing their next big thing! And since they're preparing the next big thing, everything else gets kind of left in the dust. I don't know, it's kind of sad. Unlocking features. I suppose for what I do in my everyday life, it's mostly just work, sleep, play. That's about the summary of it. At least there's a lot of modern conveniences these days that help with the old having too much to do thing. Lets me have a little bit more time to have some fun and keeps me a bit on the sane and happy side, which I like being on the sane and happy side. I recommend it to anybody. You know, I was just saying, it's important. It's something you should consider. I've had a lot in life that tries to bring me down, but here I still am. Feeling pretty decent overall, actually. I've had my low times, but it actually hasn't been as common as I would have thought. That's for here. Oh wait, there's still more. Gotta do this one first. Who needs stairs? Go! I'll probably be a little bit more structured with future ones of these as well, where I'll try to talk about something specific for a while, but basically just trying to get a feel for it today, and kind of giving you guys a little introduction of what I have in mind. I know this isn't going to be the type of content for everybody, but I hope at least some people like listening to me blather on about whatever. Because, you know, I do kind of enjoy just talking about anything that's on my mind. It actually helps a fair bit, too. I mean, think about it. Sometimes you just want to get things off your chest and just talk about whatever, and it can actually be a fair bit of a help to be able to just do that. Hey, I put my prices down and all of a sudden things sell, go figure. Skipping the dialogue kind of hard in these, but... That's all the important ones. Yep, okay. So it's just like... You can worry about a lot of things. You can choose to worry about them. You can drive yourself crazy worrying about them if you want. Because quite frankly, there's a lot in our everyday lives that can cause us to start to fret over it, but you have to learn to prioritize just the stuff that you're worrying about. I know that there's times where everything just sucks and all the little things are just piling up and becoming a problem, but... compared to the really major stuff in life, it's generally nothing much. If that makes sense. I hope that makes sense, because that sounded kind of nonsense. As you can see, my trains of thought are perfectly valid at the moment. There's nothing wrong with them. My throat's not dying. What are you talking about? I'm not about to drink this water. It's kind of necessary right now, actually. I can tell I haven't been streaming as much. Talking all that long is actually becoming somewhat uncomfortable, would be the best way of putting it. Oh man, unlocking content just by talking to people. I suppose I can do a little reading on the text on the cutscene one, but well. Yes, yes. Recall the story of one of the final bosses of the game. Because this thing actually has a pretty decent, like, single-player-ish story type of thing to go through. It's a Square game, what do you expect? It's gonna have an over-elaborate story that's kind of fancy. Unless I'll unlock the harder version of that boss battle? Yes. The other one wants me to go in here. I think it's gonna be about good for this first one, just to give you guys kind of a feel. I already have an idea what I'm gonna be talking about next time. But, you know, let me know what you think. Yeah, let me know if there's anything you'd like to actually hear me talk about, and I'll try to get into it as much as I can. Of course, not gonna go super personal on the details or anything like that, but well, I'm probably gonna be talking a bit more about it than I usually would, so that's at least something to keep in mind. Overall, though, just kind of a testing grounds on this one. The whole goal is to essentially have something I can upload for you guys that at least provides some form of entertainment, while not having too much editing time on my end or recording time, which is the usual problems with my current projects because they take ages to put together, which I don't have pretty much at all. I used to do all my recordings on the third day off in the week, but I haven't had one of those in a long time. Months, even. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Either way, though, I want to thank you for watching this little pilot attempt at semi-vlogness. I know, that's what I'll call it for the time being. Maybe I'll come up with a more official name or something. Or you guys can, one of the two. But either way, I'll be doing one of these maybe every 2 or 3 days or so. We'll see how frequent it gets, especially if I have something to talk about in particular. I have a funny feeling a lot of these are going to be recorded right after I get home from work, because then everything is going to be fresh in my mind and I'll have lots of lovely stories to share. Such as the people who don't listen to the freaking closing announcements and are there ordering photos until 10 after the stores closed when they were supposed to leave ages ago. Yeah. I'll catch you guys next time, alright?